Alright, welcome back to the league race. This time we're back with round number 7, I think, of FTRL around Singapore. And dry qualifying, dry race. This is a much better track now than it was in last year's game. So I'm happy with that because I really like this track. I like the twists and turns of it. I like the endurance aspect of it. It's one of the toughest races on the calendar. It always calls for a certain kind of discipline, a certain kind of, not temperament, not in the same way you'd be sitting behind someone at Monaco, but I really enjoy the challenge of it. I have good memories here. I've won multiple races here. First one in DNS back in full wet conditions in 2017. So, yeah, it's a track that I've gone well at. There's the setup. Again, I kind of flicked and, I was very back and forth at the time of the setup here. I eventually settled on one. You can see it there somewhat. End of qualifying. I wanted to set a lap time on softs, but not inside the top 10. Now, I left a lot of time on the table. My PB was a 35.7, I think. Oh, 35.6, actually. So I did a 36.7, which is... I left more on the table than I would have wanted to, but again, I was just wanted to be absolutely sure I didn't qualify inside the top 10, which I did not, but I ended up qualifying in P16. But this one was more so by design. A 35.7 or 6 would have got me in the top 10, but like 8th and 9th range, which would not have done me any good. So, yeah, it's going to be a long one from P16, but honestly, I was thinking medium, soft. Those hards are so bad. So, but look, there's going to be a lot of safety cars around. That seems to be, that kind of take that into a kind of account. But honestly, the hards, the delta on those is really, really bad. And I think with the soft competitor at the end, you would have an advantage. So that was my thinking, I guess, through it. Anyways, here we go. 31 laps. It's a long haul, this one. But away we go. It's a decent start. Nice bit of track opens up to the right-hand side, which I want to try and take. Racing line will help. Kind of boxed in here between Chris and Dan. That's going to allow Dylan to get through, and that's going to allow more cars to go through. There's a McLaren and Funky Fox that gets through. This was really tough because of the delta between the mediums and hards. It's imperative you're ahead of the guys on hards, and I got boxed in behind Dan again there, which allows Scuba to go through. So we're behind multiple cars on hards. I have to say, Yarm got an absolutely ridiculous start on his hards. Holy shit, that was insane. Yeah, so fair play to him. I didn't expect him to get that well off the line on hards, but we're in P19 on mediums. It's an absolute disaster. But like dominoes that begin to fall, Karen Robb is the first one to go. He retires from the race on lap 1, brings out a virtual safety car, the first of a few on this particular race. If you're not familiar with the game, there's a delta glitch where it goes up by multiple seconds, and when it says to end, then it drops back down to what it should. So I knew this was coming, and I knew that there was going to be a big slam on the brakes up in front from everyone, creating a kind of Constantine effect. So I almost ran to the back of Scuba there, but thankfully I was able to. Again, I knew this was going to be likely going to be coming, so yeah, had to be careful of that. But we'll get underway once again. We're in P16. I think Dutch actually pitted under. Dutch and Tico pitted under that VSC. Tico went mediums. Dutch went hards. So kind of the difference of a philosophy there. This is lap number 4. And we're behind Funky Fox. I will have to say this, though. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to overtake against the guys on hards. The delta was so strong that even though guys I don't have, I would say natural pace advantages against, I was able to move through the field. I wasn't stuck behind these guys on hards. And you had to lose a fair amount of ERS, which I did. It's going to be very close to the barrier. There's going to be a nice move around the outside in the track limits. Sometimes I amaze myself. No, just kidding. But we get that move done, which is big, and the other guys are bottlenecked behind Chris then, and there's other cars on hards as well. Lap number 5, we're behind Chris now, and there's a yellow flag in front, and that's Andy, who's out of the race. And at the perfect time, the safety car comes out. Now, hards will go to the end, but again, I hate them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ditch these mediums, put on hards, get my tire fulfillment out of the way, so I have to run both, or I have to run 2 different compounds. So I'm going to chuck on the hards now. Very late call to switch on the hards there, by the way. I actually didn't realise. The pit lane was, the call was very late, you see, with the safety car, so I didn't have much time to react to get off of my original strategy, which is mediums. So we're going to put on the hards, and then immediately because we're in P15 anyway, like, so there's nothing to be gained here. So we're going to come back in for a set of mediums at the end of this lap, and we're going to put on the mediums then, and we can still do our soft stint at the end. But at the time, this was risky. Like, I kind of, in my mind, I was like, ooh, have I made the right decision here? Missed the pit lane a little bit there, but anyways, into the pits we come again. Mediums I know wouldn't go to the end. I knew that full well. I was very much coming in with the idea that, you know, we were going to have to come in for a set of softs later, but I did hope that, look, it was impossible to tell. I really didn't know how this was going to all unfold because of safety cars and that kind of thing. So it was a gamble, but I feel like it was a calculated gamble because I just think being on those hards is... There's a certain point in the grid where you have to do it, but for where I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. If this track was in F4 and TTML, I would have a real headache because I wouldn't know what to do from a kind of a title leading perspective. But anyways, we're going to get under racing conditions once again. Dutch has got a drive through, one which he would never actually get rid of, as it turns out, I don't think. So, or maybe he got rid of it at some point later. But anyways, nothing really doing on the restart, at least for now. Again, just trying to fill in nicely. So again, there's quite a few drivers on hard compound tyres now. So my main focus is actually in front. I know there's Yaran behind, but I'm hopeful that we can just stay out of his, keeping him out of DRS. But heading down, I think this is Raffles Boulevard. I could be wrong. But really, like, it was just race was about dropping flies. There it goes, Scuba round. I don't know who tapped him. It may have been Funky Fox. I'm actually not sure. And there goes Tom LD. So, yeah, plenty. Like, again, it's just keeping the car. Just there's all sorts of accidents, and this is what part of the journey is here. Dylan then crashes out of the race, lap number 13. So he is out. We move up into P11. Most people around us are on mediums as well, so that's kind of encouraging as well. And so we're making up ground. You see Joe and Tom, they're out of DRS. I think Tom's got damage back there as well, so we're extending the gap on him. And there goes Evil Chris then. He spins, and he's not out of this race, but he's definitely back then. Lap number 15, heading on to lap 15, there goes Funky Fox. So again, they're absolutely, the dominoes just are beginning to fall and drop and drop and drop. Lap number 16, Dan is going to understeer into the wall. I believe he damaged his wing. Well, because I suppose he would. Anything would damage your wing here, and it would cripple you immensely. So that's up also to 6th place then, with Wesker then on hards to hunt in front, and I was hunting him. I didn't commit to, again, you feel like I can't commit to an overtake here unless you know you're going to do it, because when you make that decision to use that ERS, you know, you have to make sure you're going by. Anyways, safety car is deployed for, I don't even know who it was actually, but the safety car is deployed, and I decided to stay, I decided to box for this one. I decided to box here and put on my old mediums. They're better than the currently. I put on my old mediums here because these were beginning to rack up the wear here, and the first set which I started the race on weren't too bad. That's too. In retrospect, could you have gotten softs to the end of the race from here? You couldn't risk it, because on the off chance there was no safety car to finish this race, they would be absolutely dead. These are tyres that, if you do qualifying on them, they're dead within 3-4 laps, maybe even less. So we're still in a good place here. My tyres are less than 20%, so these will easily go to the end, and we're in P7, so we're in a really good spot here. But again, most people kind of switch to that strategy, the mediums. Yaram was, I think, the sole one to go on softs at this particular time, which again, so we all expected he would have to pit again at some point. Heading on to the restart though. Very hard to warm up the tyres here, I find, on mediums, and especially hard warm up would be especially bad. But you can see his problem for Wesker as he gets on the curb, car goes round, we have to dance around the outside, and we do get through. And into P6 with Adam in front and Kevin behind. Now, I think Kevin's were fresh mediums, So, of course, I'm working with a worn Seft here. Plus, I racked them up to about 20% or so, but trying to warm them up. Warm up wasn't too bad on this occasion because the restart was at a decent pace from Joe. But I did use a bit of ERS and thought, nah, this is futile. So pick and choose my battles once again. Kevin he's on the inside anyway, so break nice and early. No need to fight that. That's not a fight I should be really fighting. He's got 11 seconds worth of pens. So if he's going to get away off the road on 11 seconds, then that's his own merit. Adam and Joe crash there, so we get 2 positions there. Joe is out of the race, and understandably a little mad, but yeah, the tensions have been rising for the last week or so, and I'm not surprised something ended up happening. I was very fearful that I might actually be taken out in this race, to be fair, at some stage. But another safety car is deployed, and I think in retrospect this would have been the time to pit for softs. I was in 5th place with track position. There are penalties behind me. I was thinking at this point, look, I can't really sacrifice this track position. I felt like I had to keep it, because mediums will go to the end and it can be difficult to overtake her even on soft. So that's the idea in retrospect. In reality, what actually happened here was that I was going to wait and see if all 4 of them boxed, then I would box behind them. So we're basically just going to wait and see. We got the softs ready to go. I used only like 1 second qualifying. So literally we're watching Lynx, Kevin, Tico, and I think it's Oxox up there, my teammate, and it looked like someone was going to come in very late, but no, they backed out of it. So I decided to stay out at this point. I still think in the top 5 this was the right thing to do. If you were further back, you had nothing to lose, really. Like if you were losing 2 or 3 positions, I think it would have been worth it, but I would have lost 5 or 6 possibly. We gained a position there because Lynx's controller ended up disconnecting, or something problem with it, but he just sailed into that barrier, sadly for him. So pretty unfortunate for him. Get a new pad, son. You get a few tenths. I remember gaining loads of time with a broken pad once. The weird thing here, I went alongside Kevin and I put on the brakes to let him back by, but then he disappeared. He was like a ghost. I don't know what happened to him, but all of a sudden now we're in P3. So I know I got heavy on the brakes there under that safety car, but I was trying to get the car back through, and it was just gone. I was like, what just happened? Anyways, tires are freezing. They are absolutely frozen. I was so distracted by the fact that Kevin was it just disappeared. I think, was it my fault? Did I do something wrong? And then I got distracted by Scuba entering the pits here on the left-hand side. This restart, I think, took the piss a bit. It looked like multiple speeds were had there by Tico. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, Tom's on the inside. Yarm tries to squeeze through as well. There's absolutely no room. We're squeezed off the track. I commit to the outside. Yarm makes contact with Tom, and Tom's already going round. I get another hit in the back there. I think that's from Adam. Tom and Yarm make contact. I couldn't avoid Tom. So, yeah, that's how you lose a lot of positions very, very quickly. So, yeah, I've got a box at the end of this lap. But later that lap, I think Sparks and Adam come together here. I'm not sure how. I couldn't really see what happened, but we'll get by those two. Nip on through. And again, we're heading down towards I think it's the Anderson Bridge. I think this track has a bit different. There's like some corner names and like there's some numbers. But Sparks then is out of the race, and lo and behold, we have another safety car, which was... This one was a godsend for me because I needed this one. I needed to get in, replace the wing, put on the softs. So most people, I think, ended up... Well, I'm not sure about the leaders. Leaders didn't actually come in for softs, but definitely I'm coming in for softs. Other people are coming in for softs. If you pitted the previous stage car, it worked out. I think Sway pitted for softs. This worked out a treat for him because there's obviously Carnage in front with myself, Yaram, and Tom. Then Adam and Sparks, and so it all kind of kicked off. So he gained lots of positions. Plus, also the extra safety car time running would have really helped his tire wear, where it may have been touch and go if it was full racing conditions. So it had definitely, in retrospect, the last safety car would have been the one. But I felt I couldn't let go of track position like that. Ended up obviously happening anyways. But look, there's penalties in front. You know, we're on soft compound tires. Every chance to still get some good places here. We still have a top 10 finish here in the offing, regardless. I think so. As long as we can keep Adam and Tom behind. And again, I fancy my pace around here at times, so I'm thinking we can do that. So anyways, we'll tag on to the back of Scuba, and we'll try and get the show on the road again for 4 laps. So I'm not sure who's restarting it at this stage. It must be Tico. Much better restart, I think. The last one looked shady, but whatever. It doesn't matter now at this stage. We get under flag, racing once again. We're in P9 actually. I think someone had to pit. I'm not sure. Oh, I think Dutch was disqualified. I think yes, Dutch just got disqualified. So for not being able to serve his drive-through, which is absolute arse. So I feel bad for him. So both him and Lynx unable to finish the race today. But we're going to carry on though as we head down now. I'm not sure why I left so much of this in, but regardless, anyways, we're getting close to the end of this race now. Finally, so this lasted over an hour. This race, lap 28. The dominoes begin to fall again. So Funky Fox there has some sort of collision or something that took off his wing and goes through my teammate at that hairpin. So that's 1 position gained. There are penalties in front. Behind Wesker here is where the bottleneck is forming. We need to get by because the guys in front of him are bridging that gap on their tyres and their penalties. Dan goes for an absolute dive on Wesker. The door's open here, so I'm going to go through it. And I didn't think there's anything wrong with that. Left in space, and we get through. But Dan's dive was pretty rough. If that was me, I would be absolutely furious. But we do get through. I thought my move was fair enough on Wesker, to be fair. And I guess karma does come back pretty quickly, to be fair, because Dan loses the back end coming out of the hairpin there. So I guess that's what you could call karma. So yeah, easy come, easy go, I suppose. We're up into 6th place now. And really this is where I expected kind of to finish this race, really, because no penalties in front. I don't feel under any pressure from behind. This is the last lap, lap 31. Scuba crashes just at the bridge. He's out of the race. Yarm's picked up a last lap penalty. And Sway has penalties in front of him as well. So it's absolutely pedal to the metal to make up as much time as possible on those guys in front who aren't on those aren't on tyres that would be as good as ours. Certainly at this phase of the race, even though our softs have done a few laps in Fury now, their laps have done more. Their tyres have done more. So anyways, last lap. It's look, this one is a marathon. It really is. I enjoy the carnage here, the chaos. I have been caught up in it in the past, but a safety car can always change the game, and it worked for us and against us. Going to come across the line for P3. I think this will be P4 once Sway gets a bullshit 5-second penalty removed. But P4, honestly, to make it after all that, you know, really happy with that. That's an absolutely fantastic result. Just somehow, some way, you know, just even with the incident there with Yarm and Tom, just still made it work somehow. Just a lot of cars fell off in front of me that I couldn't have expected to fall off in front of me in the way that they did. So yeah, again, simple stuff. Keep the car in the right direction, and you just never know. Keep those warnings clean, get no pens, and you really just don't know how it's going to all unfold come the checker flag. Sometimes it hurts you, sometimes it helps you, but I have found in more experience more so it has helped. Anyways, that is round number, I think it's 7 of Singapore. It should be 4th place. I'd be surprised if it was still P3. I do try and aim for at least one podium season in Division 1. This is good as, really, even if it is P4. But again, a lot of carnage in that race. I think only 10 people actually finished, even though Scuba's counted there as a lap down. Then the attention was brought to the strategies, and look at that shit. That is nuts. That's a whole lot of chickens right there. Casual 4 stops. Gotta say, fair play to Tico and Ox. They smashed it with it. Just keeping the clean up there with 2. Here are the standings. We made up some points. Ox overtakes us, and I do expect to lose a few points here once I'm demoted down to 4th after Sway's penalty is removed. But if you told me that was how the standings would rack up after 7 odd races, I wouldn't have believed you. But consistency has been hard for a lot to find. And you're seeing the rewards for those who are picking up those consistent points and finishes. That's damn France race, man. Ugh, flipping one blot on my copybook there, 14th in that, and those stupid conditions. They were absolutely garbage. That track was intermediates. Anyways, I digress. A good weekend, or a good week rather, for the two Alpines, which is going to give us some good constructors points. And this little fight in the constructors is a bit more alive than you might think. I'm stalling because I left too much time on the drivers' standings here. There they are. There's the constructors. 211 points to McLaren's 235, and Alfa Romeo right there in 208. So it's actually it's going to really hit crunch time heading down the stretch here for this. I still think McLaren should be good. I won't rule out Alfa Romeo with a late run from Dutch if he's going to try and go for this title still. He's a bit, but he's a little bit behind Links there, but yeah, really, it's heating up, and this is exciting. I'm going to need both of us to have some good races. But yeah, there we go. That's round number 7, I believe, of FTRL Division 1. Absolutely chaotic race, but look, Singapore, she's been good to me, and I've been good to her, so very happy with that. There are certain tracks you want to get good results at, and that is one for me. Monaco's another one as well. Which we'll also get a chance to do before the end of the season. Next up, I believe, is Japan. It's going to be a double Japan week with FTRL and TTML. So that's good, that's excellent, because I historically have loved Japan. I would love to go well here, and in both instances, but especially in F4. So yeah, looking forward to that, and until next time.